Hello. I hope everybody's had a great Monday. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I'm really excited to share. And a friend told me that I should not dive in right away when I start a Facebook Live video. So I'm purposefully stalling for a few minutes. So I made a blog post or wrote a blog post on Saturday and shared it first with my subscribers and then later shared it to social media just about some exciting things that the Lord is doing. This last month, September, marked 1 year since I clicked publish for the first time on a blog post, and I just am blown away by what God has done since that time. I had no idea the blessings that He had in store for me, and He's just taught me so much and amazed me by what He's done with some really broken words from a really broken person. So I thank God for that. I thank you for your support. But I also shared in that post a little bit about a dream that the Lord's given me. And it's a dream that I want to chase hard until He closes that door. That's what I want to talk to you about tonight. So I want to tell you, first of all, that I have covered up the part of the screen where I see who's there and I see the comments, because I'm not sure why, but I am super nervous tonight. And I don't know if it's just because it's such a big dream, but I'm just really nervous. And so I really want you to comment, because I love going back and being able to see that and read that and be encouraged by it. But I had to cover it up for tonight just because the nerves settled in a little bit. So I want to talk to you about my dream a little bit more, some of the details. So one of the things that I found great joy in during my time of residential treatment in Canopy Cove was being able to encourage others. And it was there that I had a dream that maybe one day, if God healed me, maybe I could start a residential facility, kind of like where I was staying at Canopy Cove, where I would be able to pour into the lives of others who were struggling with eating disorders and be able to point them to Jesus. And to the hope that I had in Him and found renewed at Canopy Cove. So as my rational brain began to walk through it, I realized that it was just a lofty dream with way too many logistics and expenses to ever come to fruition. So I'll skip a lot of the other details and move on to say that God sent an acquaintance from years ago back into my life, completely out of the blue. I know that it was God, for the purpose of reminding me of that dream that I'd ignored because there were too many impossibilities. So she put back in my face what I've been saying to others a lot recently, in that there is no hard for God, and that my dream was no different. Okay, so I have so much to be excited about, and I know that I can't share all of it right now, so I just want to help you catch the vision. But first, before you can catch the vision, I think that you need to understand the who and the why. So I want you to know that right now the statistics tell us that at least 30 million people just in the United States alone suffer with an eating disorder. And every 62 minutes, at least one person will die as a direct result from an eating disorder. Now, you probably wouldn't hear on the news or something that this person died as a result of an eating disorder, but the cause of death would be a heart attack or organ failure or a seizure. But those are all direct results of the impact that the eating disorder has on the body. And also, eating disorders have the highest mortality rate of any mental illness. So there are testimonies of people who have acknowledged that they have a problem and turn to really good biblical counseling and have fully recovered. And I would never want to minimize that, because that is wonderful. And I am so thankful for their stories. But what I think we also have to be really careful to remember here, without invalidating those stories, because again, it's wonderful, and God can do anything that He wants to do, and I'm so thankful for their healing. But while good biblically based counseling is vital for full eating disorder recovery, it's essential in an outpatient setting, when you're meeting once or twice a week. You have to have that. But eating, when you are in the middle of eating disorder behaviors, when they are extreme, then they also are leading your body to extreme physical dangers. And sometimes, not all of the time, please hear me when I say that, but sometimes a different kind of intervention is going to be needed at the onset of treatment. So just remember those statistics that I shared, with the number of deaths that are associated. And again, I want to say it again, biblical counseling is absolutely needed. It's needed at the onset, even when an intervention of another kind is needed. We still need the biblical counseling, but sometimes to be able to do that in an outpatient setting, we might need a medical treatment team in addition to that, to monitor things on the medical side. I hope that makes sense and is not confusing in any way, but please, if it is, comment and I will see it and respond below. So please don't hear me say that counseling is not needed. That's not it at all. But sometimes intervention is needed to stabilize the person medically while that counseling is happening. So when a person with an eating disorder reaches that critical point and medical professionals are confirming that it's not safe for her to live on her own, then what's necessary is for her to have a safe place where she can go and be monitored medically as she nourishes her mind and body, and get her to a place where she is able to hear and process the truth. Because women with extreme eating disorder behaviors are malnourished, and that means that their organs have shrunken and their mental function is actually impaired. And so that physical piece is a huge component in even preparing them to mentally be able to hear and process the counseling that's being given. So they're also at great risk for respiratory and heart failure and seizures. There really are just innumerable risks. And so when a person with these extreme behaviors in a state of malnourishment begins to eat properly, then we're also adding an additionally potential fatal risk of refeeding syndrome, which is caused by metabolic imbalances and all kinds of other things that I'm not qualified to even talk about. And so that's another reason why, yes, we want to bring that counseling into place. It absolutely must be biblically based counseling, but we also cannot give them that counseling and then just say, okay, here's a meal plan, you have to eat it. When someone is in an extreme physical condition, that can actually kill them. And so medically trained professionals have to be a part of that process so that the body is getting what it needs in slow enough increments that it doesn't go into shock. So it's actually a very complicated process that has to be monitored 24 hours a day by many different kinds of professionals in order to keep the patient safe. And additionally, at extreme levels, it's necessary for behaviors to be halted immediately. And so this also requires 24-hour watched care to make sure that the woman, in our case, the woman, is not engaging in extreme restriction or purging or self-harm or over-exercise, any of that are going to add to the risks for her life. So the number one priority in a residential setting is to stabilize physical health by nourishing the body and just eliminating all behaviors in an instant. When they walk through the door, they stop. And what we want to do within our facility is to bring alongside that strong biblical counseling. So we want to walk alongside these women during the refeeding process because it is intense. in every way. And I cannot emphasize that enough. And so we want to come alongside them and to begin helping them with an open Bible to identify the thoughts and beliefs that are contributing to the eating disorder as their minds begin to function properly again. So the recovery process is a long one. And the residential treatment is really just a boost in preparation for the hard work to come once she returns home and connects with that biblical counselor who can meet with her a couple of times a week and continue to pour into her life. And again, that nutritional restoration is a huge part of that residential stay. So this is the exciting part. I love the amazing opportunity that we will have as women from all over the United States and maybe even other places in the world will come to us completely broken. I don't love that they'll come completely broken, but I love the opportunity that it will provide.